Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Our largest single-theme land expansion ever.
Now we want you to share with us our latest and greatest dream.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 96. Oh my gosh, I already messed up. Of Matterhorn Mondays. I'm your host, Matterhorn Matt.
And I'm Alex the Historian.
And today on The Outpost, we are joined by none other than Jeremy himself. Why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, and as you can see, we're, like I said last week, we're up in the production value. Things are going up. Frame rate on my camera is going down. But yeah. Jeremy is here, live on camera, along with Alex, just like last week. So yeah, welcome, everybody. Yeah, 4 episodes away from episode 100. That's crazy to think. 100 episodes ago we started.
We should have 10 guests for episode 100. Like the
or
top
we could have
10
100
best guests. Oh.
I mean, that's a good idea too.
Okay.
I'll look into that. Yeah, that'd be cool to do. Maybe have like some sort of round table discussion. I don't know, with 10 other people. We'll see.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm not really sure how I would moderate that, but I'll look into it because that is a really neat idea. But anyways, yeah. Before we get started, you guys know the drill. I don't really want to read through all this stuff. Links are in the description to the Patreon, the Twitter, the Discord server, my second channel where you can watch these episodes being recorded live. Also, we have no birthdays this week. If you'd like to be wished a happy birthday live on the Matterhorn Mondays podcast, link is in the description to the Google Doc. Just send in your name, your birthday, and then we'll add you to the calendar, and we'll read off your birthday live on the stream. And I did order a new microphone, and sadly that won't be coming in until tomorrow, the day after we record this episode, so...
What's the microphone? Like
it's
because I've been looking into getting a new one too.
Here I have the email right here. I think.
Oh, you'll mispronounce it.
I probably will. Okay, I'm gonna have to open Amazon to find it because the name's not on the email. It's I mean, I was led to believe by the reviews and by the description that it was a pretty good microphone. Let's see. It is the. Let's see if it'll let me find the name of it. It is the Audio-Technica AT2020 USB Plus cardioid condenser USB microphone, black. So, yeah.
No, that'll be good. That'll probably be better because I have a Snowball too, which I've been very happy with for years. But I have bad acoustics, and I just need to do a lot with the room and also a new mic, but this has nothing to do with Disney, so let's stop this conversation right now.
Yeah, because I'm sure you
should
guys
send me the link for that microphone too.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll send it in the group chat for all you guys to see. But and before we get started, I'd also like to apologize if you can hear my fan in the background. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my other camera here because I bought a green screen today, and. You guys will see here. Let me just switch to this really quick. I put it together very quickly. And whoa, look at that, guys. I'm at the base of the Matterhorn. Wow. That's pretty cool, right? But the green screen blocks the airflow from my normal ceiling fan. So I have my little portable fan here that's providing me with all the the fresh air in my room. It looks really bad right now, but next week I promise it will improve. It's just it's a proof of concept currently. But yes.
Is it supposed to look like outside, like a window is the Matterhorn?
I mean, sure. If that's the way you want to interpret it, then yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Oh my gosh.
Matt, there was a birthday on the 4th. I think we said Autumn's birthday was last week. We announced her birthday. So yeah, happy birthday to Autumn on the 4th. In case we didn't say that, which we might have missed. I hope we didn't. But anyways, enough of this rambling. Let's go ahead and get on. Well, okay. Like I said, we're breaking new ground here on the show, you guys. Every single one of us has a can of Snapple today. I guess I'll go ahead. I'll go first. Introduce. I figured everyone else would have peach because that's the most popular flavor. So I have mango. Mango Madness is what it's called.
Show it to the camera.
Yeah, I'll show you guys here. There is that, and then I'll go ahead and switch back to this camera as well, so you guys can get a better. Oh my gosh! So you guys can get a better look at that. Again, work in progress. This setup here, Snapple, yeah. And Alex, why don't we have you introduce your flavor of Snapple here?
I have here the peach tea Snapple.
All right.
Yes, sir.
And now, Jeremy, what kind of Snapple do you have today?
I too have the Snapple peach tea, as it says, "Life's a peach."
Yeah. This one says "Udamangos."
Oh boy.
Gotta love Snapple, you guys. So
that's great.
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and take turns. I'll go first, pop the lid. Alex will follow. Yeah, he's posing with that, and then Jeremy will follow as well. So let's go ahead and pop this bad puppy open. Here we go. It's kind of a weak pop, but anyways, Alex, now you.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that was a big one. Nice. I like that one. Big pop.
I'm scared to do this now. Oh, there was no pop, but it opened.
All right, so we each got our Snapple for today's show. Be prepared, you guys. This is going to be a great show because we got a lot of great topics to talk about. And I guess we can go ahead and read
cheers.
off. Oh, yeah, okay. First, yeah, cheers. I'll go ahead and toast the camera.
Who is this to
the
Walt
viewers.
Disney?
To Walt Disney. We can do both. To Walt Disney and the viewers. Thank you for watching.
And the viewers.
Yeah, and viewers at home, just like you. Yeah, we can all take a drink now. So.
So refreshing.
I will absolutely love Snapple, you guys. You probably can't see, but I have the shirt that they gave me hung up on my wall with my last name right there. And then I have a shelf here. I severely underestimated the amount of time I'd have to prepare for this episode. I have this shelf here that I was going to put the other can of Snapple that they sent me to take pictures with and like hang it back here. But like I said, I severely underestimated the amount of time I'd have to prepare for this episode. But anyways, enough rambling on. Let's get right into this week's News from the Peak.
We now present to you News from the Peak.
Alrighty, and for this week's News from the Peak, our first bit, really, I guess controversial news if you're living on the internet. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce this woman's name, to be completely honest. Is it Halle Bailey? Halle Bailey, I'm assumed is how it's pronounced. She has been cast as Ariel in the live-action film of The Little Mermaid. Again, I don't know much about this actress. I don't think I've ever seen her in a single movie, unless I'm mistaken. But yeah, director Rob Marshall released a statement saying, quote, "After an extensive search, it was abundantly clear that Halle possesses that rare combination of spirit, heart, youth, innocence, and substance, plus a glorious singing voice. That's a word I can't pronounce. All qualities necessary to play this iconic role." And also more news of this film is expected to be released at the upcoming D23 convention in August. But Alex, what are your thoughts on Miss, hope I'm pronouncing it right, Halle Bailey being cast as Ariel in the live-action The Little Mermaid film?
I've never seen her acting before, I don't think. I don't know if I've seen her in a movie or anything, so I'm not really sure. But also at the same time, everyone knows my opinions on Disney sequels. You know, it's one of those movies where I'm kind of like, I feel like this is yet another Disney movie that doesn't need like being redone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jeremy, what about you?
So I mean, they're remaking every movie. Okay, whatever. I concede. There's nothing we can do about it. This casting choice should not be controversial. And that's the only comment I have.
Yeah. Okay. That's the good way to put it. I think there's a video floating around on the internet of her singing, so I don't know. I haven't seen it. But anyways, for our second bit of news from the peak, you guys, this is brand new stuff. New buses with USB charging have debuted at Walt Disney World, and the buses will be wrapped with the sensational 6 characters. As you can see, there's Pluto. Here's the interior of one of the buses. Really nice looking, and here's a great shot. Look at that wonderful shot of that USB port, courtesy of blogmickey.com. I can't really remember the buses the last time I went to Walt Disney World, so I can't really say if this is an improvement. I mean, obviously, the USB chargers are a big improvement.
Those don't look like new buses. They look like old buses with new seats.
Yeah, that could very much be the case. If anything,
I wonder if they smog check that thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, if any of you Walt Disney World enthusiasts know more about these, if these are indeed brand new buses that have been added to the resort, or if they're, like Alex said, just same old buses with old seats, please comment down below. Say in chat, whichever you prefer. Jeremy?
I will be in Disney World from August 9th to the 19th, and I will let you know.
Okay.
What I can say is that the bus transportation as an efficient means of transportation from resorts to parks has gone severely down in quality over the past 5 or 6 years. So I don't think chargers are going to help with the efficiency of the bus transportation. And I've certainly never needed to charge a phone on the bus. Wait till you get back to the hotel. Really.
Maybe the inefficiency of the system is so bad that by the time, you would get off the bus, your phone would be dead. So it's like they put chargers in there.
I'm telling you, I've waited half hour to 45 minutes for buses before. The last time I went. Insane.
Yeah.
That's never been the case. And I've been going to Disney World since 2001.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't really speak much on behalf of the Walt Disney World community because I've only been a very limited amount of times. I think I've only been twice. But yeah, like I said, if you guys in the chat, in the comments, know better than me, please correct me. Because, like I said, I obviously don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to buses at Walt Disney World. So, yeah, and those are the only 2 bits of news from the peak we have today, because we do have a lot of great topics that we want to get into. I guess we can sort of list down the main topics we're going to be talking about today. In light of recent events...
Forget what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, that's what this recap is for. In light of recent events, Alex thought it would be a great idea to sort of explain to the people... Oh my gosh, look how worried he is. To sort of explain to people what normally goes down at Disneyland during an earthquake. Because as many of you guys may or may not know, the past week, few big earthquakes have happened in the California region, in California. And I think they had to shut down some of the rides at Disneyland the other day for inspections. So yeah, we can go ahead and get into that right away. But before we get into that, okay, no, we'll get into that first, and then we'll get into the other stuff. Okay, so Alex, why don't you go ahead and give us a rundown? I mean, you were in California, of course. So why don't you go ahead and give your experience that you've had with earthquakes in Disneyland, and then sort of give us a rundown of what the normal situation is for Disney to handle earthquakes in the parks.
Well, Matt, first we have to say that us experts like to call them seismic events.
Okay.
But in any case, All jokes aside, so earthquakes at Disneyland, the operations wise afterwards, it goes pretty. It's pretty straightforward. So basically, when an earthquake happens, all the automatic rides in the park will come to a stop. And from there, the guests and cast members will ride out the earthquake until it's done. And then from there, management will decide what to do. If the earthquake is not so bad, they'll continue to run the rest of the ride and try to restart it and just have operations go as normal. If there is a significant earthquake, they may decide to evacuate the ride, or park management may decide to evacuate the buildings. Or they may decide to evacuate the park. Mm-hmm. So it really all depends on the intensity of the earthquake and what damage, if at all, it causes. And basically, there are safe zones. So if they need to evacuate the buildings but keep people in the park, there are safe zones throughout Disneyland and DCA, or Disney California Adventure, where people can gather around in large open areas. Although I have to say, in recent years, it's been more and more difficult to ensure that these safe zones are indeed safe due to the overcrowding of the park. So, yeah.
So that kind of brings on a whole other discussion, I guess, of like fire codes in the park. But we can save that for a totally separate episode. Yeah, I guess just we hope everybody who was in the area of the earthquakes that happened this past week are safe. Hopefully nothing bad happened to your house, nothing bad happened to your belongings. Maybe if you had like a vase your grandma gave you, hopefully it didn't fall off the shelf and smash into a million pieces. That would be horrific. Yeah, and I guess that's that for that topic. Alex did do a live stream the other day, where he went further into depth about earthquakes in the park. So go ahead and subscribe to Alex.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I was like, that was today. And then I'm like, oh, wait, Matterhorn Mondays.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead and check out Alex's live stream on that. And, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into our other main topics for the day now. Let's see. Well, pains me to do this, you guys. It really does. Okay, so for our second main topic, we're going to be talking about the future of Epcot, as recently announced, or I guess revealed by Disney. So, and we do
big topic.
Yeah, and we do plan eventually on doing a show, Matterhorn Mondays episode directly dedicated to the future of Epcot. Maybe once more information has been released after D23, we're going to be doing that for sure. Jeremy's really excited.
I mean, when, post D23, when we know everything, there's going to be a lot to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully some good things, but, probably not. We'll find out. But anyways.
We don't know. We don't know.
So
my stomach just tightened when I said that.
Yeah. Alex looks... I think Alex
is like Epcot.
Yeah. You guys might as well be talking about a grocery store.
Well, that's what it's turning into.
Yeah. But this information comes to us from from Blog Mickey. Links to all these articles that we'll be talking about will be in the description as always. And yeah, Disney does confirm all of the changes, or I guess most of the changes, coming to Epcot's Future World in the upcoming years. So we're going to go ahead and list down those changes that are going to be happening. First and foremost, this is the one I'm most sad about. Mouse Gear will be receiving a refurbishment later this year, you guys. That makes me really sad. No release date has been announced, but all internal calendars point towards December being that time for the refurbishment. The shop will be relocated to a temporary location while the current location gets quote-unquote reimagined. You guys know how Disney likes to use that word, reimagined. Yeah, second closure, the Fountain of Nations will be closing on September 8th, and this is a permanent closure. So, guys, big F in chat for the Fountain of Nations. Third, the Electric Umbrella will also be closing this winter, and that closure will also be permanent. Let's see, Pin Central will be closing on September 8th. The pins will be moved to the Camera Center early next year, I believe is a permanent relocation. And the Camera Center, surprisingly, will also be closing later this year, but will reopen in time to accompany all of the pins coming to the location from, the closed Pin Central area, or Pin Central is what it's called. And here's the big part. Innoventions East will be closing on September 8th. Now, I know you guys are thinking, Innoventions, that place has been closed for years, which you wouldn't be wrong if you'd say that. I mean, technically it's open, but a lot of the exhibits are, I believe, have already been closed. And I believe, I could be wrong, I'm 98% sure that Innoventions East will also be demolished, either completely or partly. That could be the other Innoventions, but I could be wrong. Correct me in chat if I'm wrong. The character spot will also be closing temporarily this year. Or, not this year. Excuse me. Will be closing temporarily on September 8th. Starbucks will also be closing later this year. Oh my gosh, I have the hiccups. Starbucks closing later this year, and a new location will take its place, which was already announced. A brand new Starbucks will be coming. This is another one I'm really sad about. Club Cool, you guys, will be closing on September 8th. But Disney did confirm that it will be reopening in some capacity in the park, so all you Beverly fans can rest easy that your favorite refreshment will stay alive in the parks, I guess. I don't think I've ever tried Beverly, but anyways, yeah.
It's... I can't even believe the Italians would drink something like that.
I feel like drinking Beverly
I've
is
tried
like
the Beverly before. It's fine. It's not, I think there's such a... It's kind of an inside joke with the community of how bad it is that when I finally had it with that in mind, I was like, oh, well, it's not my soda of choice.
I feel like it's a rite of passage to drink Beverly at Epcot, so unfortunately I'm probably going to miss out on it unless they, like they said, do reopen it. But I think we've established in the canon of the Matterhorn Mondays show that Alex is not the biggest fan of Epcot. So let's go ahead and start off with Alex on these upcoming changes to Epcot that will affect Future World permanently in the very near future.
I gotta admit, my mind went blank while you guys were talking about this stuff.
Okay, all right.
Well, your mind's gonna be you're gonna fall into an altered state of something for the next 20 minutes or so.
Too late.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa. Wow.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and we can go ahead and start off with Jeremy then, and then Alex can maybe piggyback off of what Jeremy says. So yeah, let's start with Jeremy.
I mean, this is difficult because I don't know what's going to happen with we know a little bit of some things that we've heard. I'm not sure whether those things were confirmed or whether those things were still in the rumor area, but all of that will be put to rest in a matter of Wednesday 23.
August.
Is it the end of this month or August?
It's August.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that.
August. So in the matter of a month and a half. So the idea of moving and shifting and closing these things itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It just is going to depend on what happens, what these things are replaced with. I mean, in my mind, losing the character spot, I've always found that to be weird to begin with. I'm fine with that as long as it's replaced with something that actually fits more clearly into Epcot. losing Innoventions. I know there's a soft spot in a lot of people's hearts for Innoventions. It's no Communicore.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking about the history of Epcot. I'm trying to phrase this in the least controversial way, but it doesn't, I'm not, and I'm trying to say this very clearly, it's going to depend on what happens next, but as long as Innoventions is replaced with an experience that furthers the ideas of Epcot, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Now, we have every right to be skeptical of that.
Yes.
I guess I'm sad about the Fountain of Nations, the stage that was added there when they did a show in the 90s called it was Splash Something. It's awful. If you ever get your hands on the audio of that show that was there for a very brief amount of time, it's not worth listening to. They added a stage there, and the fountain really has never felt as grand, as central to that core area of the center of Epcot, Future World. I will miss the fountain, and if the rumors are true that the fountain will be replaced with fountains of beer,
yeah.
I think that's a real shame. I don't think a beer garden has any place in the Future World section of Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
And they're moving Starbucks, and I don't like the idea of Starbucks being in the parks anyway. I like Starbucks. I like coffee, but I don't know. There's just something about, especially on like Main Street, stepping into a Starbucks. It takes you out of everything. Mm-hmm. It's like there has to be a more creative way. If they formed a partnership with Starbucks in a similar way that they had a partnership with Coca-Cola, there's a way to integrate the product, I think, into the park in a more creative way than just exiting the park basically and entering a Starbucks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. From what we've heard, even if it's in rumor land, I'm not impressed. It sounds like that whole area is going to turn into what sounds like a kind of like modern shopping center, which I'm not pleased with. But we'll see. All of this will be put to rest. There's really nothing to comment on except it's a weird transition period, and we don't know what will be announced for that whole central hub of Future World. I think we have every right to be skeptical given Chapek's record. But we'll see.
Yeah. Alex, what about you?
With a shrug.
I think that I didn't really like Future World when I went to see it a long time ago, and since then there still hasn't been any improvements to it that I liked. I think the only thing was when they redid Test Track, I was kind of like, that's cool, but I hope, like Jeremy said, I hope that whatever they change it to, whatever they add, or, whatever they do with it, hopefully it's for the better. Hopefully it's a good show. It's something entertaining. But I'm also kind of biased. I'll have to admit, like, I might not like it anyway because I just never liked the stuff at Epcot. I mean, I don't know. It's just that stuff doesn't I can't think of the words. Just doesn't appeal to me, I guess.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's really not much else to say on this topic other than that we will be covering Epcot very extensively once we finally know what the plans for Epcot are going to be. And I'm showing you this image here that was released, I think, 2 years ago at D23, which I'm sure is very old concept art, blue sky concept art. I'm sure this will be not representative at all of what Future World will look like, at least from like the rumors we've been hearing. So yeah, just take this image with a grain of salt. Yeah, guys, we might as well just do it now. Can we get an F in chat for Epcot, you guys? What was it, 1980?
Well, we don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
we don't know what's going to happen. They might compensate. They might compensate for getting rid of a pavilion dedicated to energy, the future of energy consumption and production in the country, and surprise us with an original experience, since they hear how vocal everybody is for something like that. That's the optimist in me. I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but we'll see. Although I will say, yeah.
I saw a tweet earlier today, and it was something along the lines of, "I'd like to hear what Bob Chapek thinks Epcot is," because it's obvious.
Oh yeah.
From
I know exactly. Well, I can't assume.
I mean,
but I know what he'll say. He'll say, I don't know what he'll say. No, I know what he'll say. He'll repeat he will avoid the question and say, we're going to be making Epcot a place that's working toward making an Epcot that's more family friendly, more relevant, and more Disney. As if anyone thinks those are genuine, spontaneous comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? That's not true, because honestly, after watching that interview that he decided to do with Disney News organizations, I can't think of the other word, he spoke very eloquently and passionately about how Galaxy's Edge is a next step in storytelling in a theme park. He did unfortunately say that soundbite that we all attacked him for at the end of that interview, of which I disagree with that comment of his at the end. I think he totally misses the point of what Disney is as a creative organization. And it totally sums up his overall belief and philosophy of what he's doing with the parks. But other than that, I liked what he had to say, and I think he spoke very eloquently and passionately about theme park design. That might be controversial, but it's worth watching that whole interview so you can form your own opinions about him. But yeah.
Well, I think Bob Gurr. I'm sorry. I mean Bob Iger. God. I think Bob Iger genuinely has a love for the theme parks. I think he genuinely wants Disney to be better. I think he has a desire for Disney to do well. I don't really think for him it's always about money. I think for Bob Iger, the money is just the way to make sure things keep going. And so the problem is that it's not enough to just love Disney and love the company. It's also what you put into it, and so it's like what do you do when you've got people who really want to see certain things in the parks, but those things don't necessarily. Oh, geez, Matt. Anyway, those things don't necessarily.
We must be civil.
Oh my God. He's always distracting me with stuff. I can't. Now I don't even know what I was saying.
Oh my God.
Back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll link that interview down in the description for you guys that Jeremy's talking about, because it's an interesting.
It's worth the watch.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot of, I think, really insightful things to say. Aside from that unfortunate revealing comment at the end.
Yeah, whether or not he memorized the whole script, or whether or not it's coming from his heart.
I think it's coming from his heart. He speaks very passionately. But to put this pre-Epcot D23 conversation to an end, as a final comment, one thing that I think is just telling of how I guess everyone thinks the times are cynical that they're in, but like in terms of where the company is I often hear of like anything to save the park, anything to save the park. And I just think that's a dangerous. I understand, but I still think you cannot lose sight of the values and ideas that that the theme of the theme park is. And you know, like, okay, yes, Guardians of the Galaxy, anything to bring people through the gate. I just don't think that that's not going to do anything in the long term in terms of the quality of the park. It's something, but it's not something, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at before Matt interrupted me. So, yeah.
I'm glad I continued your thought.
you really did. You said exactly what I was saying. It's just like, you know, just because a certain idea will draw people in doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for that park. And I feel like Bob Iger has made a lot of mistakes on that end, where he's just throwing things into the theme parks that don't necessarily make sense in those parks. My biggest example is DCA, and it's like, the worst part is that people like these things that he's put in so much that they will say anything to tell me that it makes sense in that park. You know, so much as telling me that Pixar Pier makes sense in California Adventure, and I'm just like, it doesn't. And they will find anything. So, this tissue box represents, you know,
California. Actually, there's a factory that produces. Yeah.
It's just they'll come up with anything to, you know.
Yeah. It was the same way when they were trying to justify how Frozen Ever After actually fit into the ideas of the World Showcase, and they actually didn't even really answer. I forget who was speaking. It was at D23 a while ago. And they didn't really answer the question. They just sort of said, like, we believe that bringing this into the park is exactly what Epcot is about. And you're like, oh, okay, well, if they said that, then that must be so. And it's a good dark ride. I actually don't think it's the best of a kind of Fantasyland dark ride there is. It's enjoyable, it's fun, but it doesn't work in the park.
Yeah.
But that's another conversation. We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I don't even know where to... yeah, like I said, we'll be covering the future of Epcot very extensively here on the show. Right. Once all the big plans are revealed.
I must be here for that.
Yeah, I'm going to try my hardest to be there for D23. I've never been to a D23 expo before, but I'm going to try.
Me neither.
And, take that with a grain of salt, of course. Me saying I'm going to try to do something is like me saying the sun is blue. I don't know where I'm going with this. But I'm going to try my hardest to be there for D23, film it all. I'm going to shake. I swear I'm going to switch to the other camera here when I say this to you guys. Okay. I swear on my life, I will shake Bob Iger's hand and Bob Chapek's hand. And I will say something funny to them. I don't know what it will be. Maybe I'll just shake his hand and say, subscribe to Matterhorn Matt. Or maybe I'll shake his hand and say, I don't know. You guys can come up with whatever you want me to say in the comments below.
Don't be a troll. Just shake his hand. That's it.
Okay. We'll see. But anyways. Yeah, oh my gosh. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into our second topic, which we put off talking about last week. To wait until Jeremy was here. By specific request, actually. Jeremy wanted to be here to talk about this topic. And just shake his hand and say poop. That's a good one. I don't know. I'll add that to the list of things that I'll say. But anyways, moving on to our third main topic for today. Like I said, we specifically...
How many main topics are there?
I think this is the last one. I could be wrong, though. My notes are behind all these other windows I have opened, so... Yeah, like I said, we specifically put off talking about this topic in the hopes, of course, that Jeremy would be here with Alex and I, but also in the hopes that even more, drama would unfold for us to cover throughout the week. And also, we wanted to sort of let it all simmer down, take a step back, look at this from the big picture, the overall picture. And I'm sure you guys know what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about the recent unfoldings with WDW News Today and Disney themselves, actually. So I'm excited to talk about this. So, all right. So for those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about, I'm going to go ahead and recap the events. I have a minute-by-minute timeline here, you guys, of the events that went down. Not really, but it's hour by hour. But this past week, the news site, WDW News Today, had been put on blast by none other than the Walt Disney Company themselves. So I'm going to go through the full timeline of events that transpired on June 26th, and links to all these articles that I'm talking about, YouTube videos I may refer to, will be in the description below, like I said. Let's see. On June 26th, WDW News Today put out an article titled, quote, "Rumor in all caps. Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room will be replaced with a Moana show for Magic Kingdom's 50th anniversary." I'm sure you guys can tell by the title. The title is an obvious clickbait title, which you'd know if you read the article itself, as Tom actually uses the word replaced in the article, and calling the whole thing an overlay, not necessarily that the Enchanted Tiki Room will be demolished, which is sort of what's implied from the title. If you read rumor, Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room will be replaced with the Moana show for the Magic Kingdom's 50th anniversary, some people may take that as saying, oh, they're going to completely gut the Tiki Room and replace it with a Moana show, which is completely false to what he says in the article. He says, quote, "Yet another opening day Magic Kingdom attraction might be on the chopping block ahead of the park's 50th anniversary." Another sort of that's the first sentence that you read when you click on the article. And of course, like I stated, he goes on to say that it will be just a simple overlay for the attraction. And here comes the good stuff. Then, on the same day, I believe this was published the same day, hours after WDW News Today posts their rumor article, the Disney Parks blog Disney themselves posted this article titled, "A Little Birdie Told Us, ... The article sort of directly addresses WDW News Today. And I'm going to quote from the article. The article says, quote, "A little birdie told us that there are some rumors flying around about our beloved tiki birds at Walt Disney World Resort. We're sorry that our fans are being fed incorrect information by unscrupulous," I could be pronouncing that wrong, "sources." Jeremy's face makes it seem like I'm pronouncing it wrong, but unscrupulous. I think that's right. I don't know. Let's see. Let me start over. "We're sorry that our fans are being fed incorrect information by unscrupulous sources. While tiki birds at Walt Disney..." Okay, no, I messed that up. "While, quote, toucan, quote, play at that game, we deal in facts here at the Disney Parks blog. Although we won't address every rumor, we want to set the record straight. There are no plans for our feathered friends to fly the coop anytime soon. We're constantly evolving our stories, but these birds will continue entertaining our guests at the Magic Kingdom Park, just like they have done since 1971. Excuse me. The article then goes on to list a bunch of fun facts about the Tiki Room. And so you'd think that's it, right? WDW News Today gets called out on one of their clickbait, fake rumor news articles by Disney themselves. You'd think that's it. But that is not the end of the story. Earlier in the month, on June 17th, WDW News Today posted another article titled, quote, "Rumor, all caps, Disney World to replace Country Bear Jamboree with Toy Story Marionette Show for Magic Kingdom's 50th anniversary." And once again, on June 28th, the Disney Parks blog smacks him right back with another post titled, quote, "About our country bears, ... The article states, I'm going to quote from the article, quote, "Thanks for bearing with us this week. With all the news we've shared, we forgot to mention our friends over at the Country Bears. Our Imagineers are always looking at ways to bring more magic to our guests through experiences and stories they know. But contrary to rumors, the Country Bear Jamboree is not going into hibernation anytime soon. In fact, we're looking forward to celebrating its 50th anniversary on October 1st, 2021 at the Walt Disney World Resort with Henry, the 5 bear rugs, and the rest of the gang. Until then, we hope that you'll be coming back again, that you'll drop in and see us now and then." I tried to do an accent, but didn't really work out. So now that's sort of that's the end of all the drama, and there's a lot to unpack here, you guys. There really is a lot to unpack here. I'm sure in the past on this show I've hinted at my opinions on WDW News Today. And before we get into the discussion, I feel like I should put out a disclaimer. I wrote a disclaimer here in my notes somewhere. Where is it? Okay. I, along with Alex and Jeremy and the Matterhorn Mondays show, do not encourage the witch hunting of certain reporters on WDW News Today, or even the bombardment of hateful comments to WDW News Today themselves. So just feel like it'd be great to put out that disclaimer, because people have feelings. And whether or not they're a part of WDW News Today, whether or not they had a hand in creating these articles, it's not right to go ahead and attack them on Twitter, send them hateful emails. So full disclaimer there. Now,
is it not? Oh, just kidding.
I mean, like I said, none of us here condone that, but. Yeah, anyways, so let's go ahead and unpack this whole situation, because from what I understand, this is the first time Disney themselves have directly addressed a rumor, an article that, a rumor that's been posted on the internet about one of their attractions being removed, replaced, whatever. To my knowledge, that's the only time that that has happened in the history of the internet. I could be wrong.
So technically, when WDW News Today reported the rumor that DCA's Tower of Terror would be replaced with an overlay that was Guardians of the Galaxy themed. Of course, Twitter went crazy. I was probably one of those people who went crazy. It was one of the first big pieces of radical changes of this kind of era of Disney parks, that it was really kind of unbelievable and unfathomable and insane. And I think famously someone tweeted something to the Disneyland Today Twitter asking about it or commenting about it, and the Disneyland Today Twitter responded, "There are no active plans to get rid of Tower of Terror."
I have that screenshot on my phone.
What's sitting there right now. But that's very different than a parks blog doing, you know what I mean? Because I have with this, whoever runs this Disneyland Today social media, is not going to have information from Imagineering about projects that are going on. So they're probably going, oh, this is just a fan site, news site. I don't know of any plans to get rid of Tower of Terror, so I'm going to respond to this. Whereas the parks blog probably actively went, is something going on? Okay, nothing's going on. All right, I'll report this. Now, that might not, I don't know. I don't know. But that's what I have to there it is.
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, anyways.
So we all know that story. But that's very different than the Disney Parks blog, in which they do use to announce officially changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do we want to go with the conversation?
So let's see. I'd like to point out. Someone pointed out in the comments down below as well that Disney did not directly deny that Moana was not coming to the Tiki Room, and I think there's a really great video that Mickey Views put out a while back. Once this all went down, and I link that in the description below. Watch his video. He makes a lot of great points. I'm gonna sort of paraphrase from what he said. He basically went through and said that WDW News Today, the sources that they have, he was fed information from his sources of, like sources do, tell people upcoming projects and stuff from the parks. So the stuff that his sources told him could possibly be true because, like we said, Disney did not deny that Moana was coming to the Tiki Room. But it's just the way that he spun the story of it replacing the Tiki Room and the implications of the title. Like I said, people could take that as completely gutting the Enchanted Tiki Room and like replacing it with a character, show. And yeah, so that's the prevailing theory out there at the moment, I believe.
I agree with that. And I again, I mean, this is hinting at I think the overall conclusion we're going to have with this that we've already kind of had about this privately between the three of us, but that will probably arrive publicly with this conversation is the idea of holding Disney fan news sites to a higher journalistic standard,
yes,
a higher quality of reporting, right? So in terms of syntax and language, that falls under that. So with that in mind, these sites are not at that level yet. There is going to be a lapse of carefully considering the right language to use. So I have to say, though, I consider the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management a replacement of what, I mean, it was called Tropical Serenade before, but it was the Enchanted Tiki Room.
Yeah.
I consider that, and I think many did, a replacement attraction, even though it still featured the same birds. So I can see how someone, well, I'm just gonna say his name, he's not Voldemort. I could see how Tom
Oh, I guess we should point out who Tom is, because we've been using because we've been using the name Tom, and I guess a lot of people don't know who Tom is. Tom, I think his last name is like Corliss or something. Cordless. It's not cordless, but it's something like that. I believe he's the owner of WDW News Today, and he himself is the one who published these two articles on the Tiki Room, on the Country Bears. You go to those articles, which will be linked in the description. You look on the left side, you'll see his picture there. You'll see his name. It's credited to Tom. So, anyways, continue.
Right. I can see how when he's writing these, he's writing for a specific audience that is, I think the assumption is well versed in not just Disney history, but like the Disney fan experience. That's the best way I can phrase it. And so I can see how that would be a syntactical error that would go under the table of like, oh yeah, I mean, like I would consider under new management to be a replacement attraction. So if there was a Moana centric show that still featured the Tiki Birds, and personally, me, Jeremy, I would consider that a replacement of the Enchanted Tiki Room. And I think many of the community would as well. So again, it's more of a thing of just WDW News Today is not the New York Times, and I'd like there to be. I think because of with social media, the rise of the Disney fan community becoming this huge and also very small, because we all kind of know each other and know who we are, and talk to each other via different social media channels. How big and also how united the Disney online fan presence is, that actually I forgot where I was going with that point. But what was I saying?
Should have left a trail of breadcrumbs when you went down that toast.
Well, I'm sure they're there. I just have to re-listen to what I was saying. Basically, I think. Oh, I figured it out. Basically, I think it's time. It's important that we do have a sort of a Disney news site that is actually holds itself to a high journalistic standard. So, and also, I mean, it is reported as a rumor.
Yeah,
I know that's I know, and I disagree. And I think in holding these websites to a higher journalistic standard, they would have to consider whether it's appropriate to report a rumor or investigate further. And I think what should have been done is investigating further. But it was still reported as a rumor.
Yeah, and that whole rumor thing has sort of become like a meme. If anyone, like, on Twitter, if anyone brings up WDW News Today, it's like, rumor, blah, 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 is blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a meme at this point, but, Alex.
Can I just... I just want to just say something. I'm not defending Tom here, but...
Yeah, me neither. Yeah.
But I do want to say that I find it really funny that, like, sometimes people want to, like, get mad at those who give rumor when they find out the rumor is false. And it's like, well, the thing is the only people that can say something is official is Disney. So it's like, what do the rest of us have? The rest of us rely on insiders, people who, you know, who are from all parts of the company. It could be anything. I know some people who their insiders are just ordinary cast members, and it's like, that's not much of an insider. But yeah, like, I think that people who read WDW News Today, they also need to understand that what they read, they need to take with a grain of salt, because it's like, it's not like Disney officially announced that this stuff is going to happen. It's like everything you read on that site when it comes to plans for the future is going to be rumor, even if they don't say it is. So I don't know, but I mean, at the same time, you also shouldn't post clickbait stuff. So
yeah, right, yeah, but that goes back to just having to somehow hold these sites accountable to just not becoming tabloid. And actually, if a reporter, and it's like I'm a Disney reporter, hard hitting. If a reporter for one of these websites, or Tom himself, gets information from a source, and I do believe they have sources. I don't believe that they make this stuff up, given their track record for a lot of the major stuff that has happened over the past 5-6 years with the parks. You know, like, going back to what I was saying before, they announced, and this is important actually, he announced as a rumor that there would be a Guardians of the Galaxy seasonal overlay for the Tower of Terror. That was what the rumor that was reported. It was not correct. In fact, it ended up being worse. It was a permanent attraction. But I don't recall anyone going like, he got it wrong. Isn't that awful? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I so I, I'm trying to figure out what happened, and I think it is sometimes his conduct on social media. He has
Yes.
very what seems to be just from how he acts on social media. I don't like making assumptions about people that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but it does seem that he has kind of a thin skin when it comes to criticism.
Yes.
Although he did come out with a very, I thought, articulate article defending WDW News today. If you haven't read that,
Mm-hmm.
it's called
Who we stand, who we are,
Who
who we
We
stand for,
Who
or
We
something like
Really
that.
Are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Who
Something
We
like
Really.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's worth the read. I think he's kind of calm, collected. I don't like the way that he talks to a lot of people in the community who don't
Yeah.
necessarily provoke him. That being said, I mean, like, there was a time where it was kind of accepted. Oh, this is a rumor, and it may not be correct. And then if it's, you know, so I don't understand how these things weren't taken the same way. Like, to me, it was fairly obvious to kind of like open my brain and think, oh well, I'm not taking this literally. The fact they're gonna gut, um, the tiki room, and it's all gonna be Moana and I kind of thought, oh, it could mean this, it could mean that, it could mean this. The one that was more specific was the Country Bears one.
Yeah.
It was very specifically, it will be, well, it's a rumor. It may be replaced with a Toy Story show. That one was more specific, but I believe a source gave him that information. The thing that we should spend our time doing, the thing we shouldn't be spending our time doing as a community is going, how dare the human being report that story? Tom is this and that and ugly. Instead, I think it's worth our because then we're just as bad as him, right? I know that's such a cliche, but it's true. At least in the way that I sometimes see him react and provoke other people on Twitter. I'm trying to be civil about this. Instead, I actually think it's more worth our time to go as a major source of information for the Disney fan community. It would have been worth to investigate, to form a story, so that way the focus is less on breaking the news before Disney and figuring out why Disney made this decision and revealing the inner workings of the company, of why the company is what it is today and making these decisions. There's no real spin or story in this news website. The story is, it's a rumor, but you should trust us. It will be replaced with Toy Story. You should be scared, as opposed to, I think, the more journalistic thing to do, which is to ask questions, figure out why, and reveal something larger about the company. That's something we should spend our time not demanding, but figuring out how to create together as a community, as opposed to just all becoming bullies to each other. Because I've really not enjoyed what I've seen the past few weeks on Twitter. And it's, you know what, I gotta say, it's really easy to not engage with it. I choose to just kind of engage with the people I normally engage with on Twitter, and we kind of just talk about Disney, which is what it should be about, right?
Yeah, so I guess it is worth, Jeremy sort of already touched on this, but it is worth noting that WDW News Today does have a really good track record when it comes to, if something new is released in the parks, say like a new food item, new clothing, new merch, stuff like that, they're normally one of the first websites out there to like publish images of that. I'm trying to think of other examples. Let's see. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. They do have a really good track record when it comes to breaking news like this first than other news sites, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing. And Jeremy touched on where the Oh gosh. How we reacted to the Guardians of the Galaxy overlay compared to these two instances that have recently happened. I don't recall the wording, the title itself of the WDW News Today article that they put out about the Tower of Terror getting replaced by Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I'm trying to like connect two and two together to try and figure out what changed, like you said, and I can't quite put my finger on what happened. It might have to do with the fact that Disney themselves have addressed this, which, like we said, to my knowledge, is the first time this has ever happened. If you count that tweet from Disneyland today, whatever, about the Tower of Terror. I do feel like that does play a big factor in it, and there has been a lot of build-up from that initial article about the Tower of Terror being replaced. And if you go on the WDW News Today website, like I said, that whole title rumor thing has become a meme. It hasn't become a meme for no reason. It's become a meme because the website is notorious for publishing articles titled rumor, blah, 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 blah. But, treating that rumor like it's 100% fact. And that is sort of where I feel like things have changed in the past few years. I've seen people on Twitter get fed up with the way that they've been breaking their news. Like I said, I can't personally speak to 3 or 4 years ago whenever the Tower of Terror news broke, whenever they did that. But I do know that there has been a progression of rumor, blah, 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 will be replaced by blah, 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 the past 2-3 years, however long it's been. And I do think that people just got fed up with it, and Disney, I guess, did too as well.
I do have to point out there is some kind of an irony to this. The kind of meme, it's a very small meme with a very niche people, but the meme before used to be the fact that they would report rumors with the headline breaking.
Yes, that
as
too.
If it was breaking news. So that would be the news breaking, this and then that, breaking this and then that. So they actually, Tom, I assume, was like, you know what, you're right. So the headline, we're going to specify when it's a rumor and when it's confirmed rumor and when it's breaking news. And now people are still unhappy with that.
And I think...
but I understand why. Because there is a desire to have, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but, to have just good journalism in terms of tackling this giant company that I think is worth having a journalistic voice that does that.
Yeah, and I think it also stems... I forgot to mention this in the initial sort of intro to this topic, but when it came to the Country Bear Jamboree, that specific instance, I believe it was either Tom, someone who worked for him, or someone who follows him on Twitter. I think they created a website titled, like, SaveTheCountryBears.com or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then... once Disney actually confirmed, or I guess renounced, those two rumors about the Tiki Room and the Country Bear Jamboree, Tom put out, or the website, I don't know if it was specifically Tom himself who put out these articles, but the website put out articles that sort of made it seem like they saved those attractions. Do you guys know what I mean? Like, they...
I do.
Like, the initial article, rumor... Moana will be replacing the Tiki Room. Disney comes out and says Moana will not be replacing the Tiki Room. They go back, WDW News Today publishes an article that says, we saved the Tiki Room from being replaced by Moana, or we saved the Country Bear Jamboree from being replaced by Toy Story. I think that's another big factor that plays into this, which I forgot to mention at the beginning. I can't believe that slipped my mind. The whole way that they've been treating this, I really don't think that Tom has been taking this, from my point of view, has been taking this really seriously. From the website that they put out, I mean, sure, that was a funny joke at the time, haha, SaveTheCountryBears.com, whatever the website was called, but going on and then, like, taking credit for saving an attraction that wasn't going to be changed at all is a whole other level. I don't know if it's the right word would be, like, delusion or... But yeah, that's another big factor.
I think what it may be is that he really he really trusts the sources. And another kind of common conversation about this is all of this stuff was probably in blue sky at one point. And so he probably got the information, and then plans change. So perhaps Country Bear Jamboree will be here for the 50th anniversary, and then after the 50th anniversary, it may not. Or it will always be here. So, it depends on the layers and also the stages of when this information is gotten from whatever sources he has. So, but I agree about his conduct in terms of responding to this. I think, he didn't really take it seriously, and it was almost as if he was like, oh, well, they really wanted to give us, a hard time, so they reversed their plans to take away the Country Bear Jamboree. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's more they may have already were in stages of designing a Toy Story show to go into Frontierland and possibly replace the Country Bears. But at the time of publishing the article, that plan might have been long in the trash can. So it's I think it's all just miscommunication. And he has what appears to be thin skin, and
This is all really interesting because cannot think of another example of something like this happening in the Diz Twitter community. I can't think of another example of this happening where Disney directly calls out a website Disney directly puts a news, quote unquote news website on blast for this kind of stuff.
That's the power of the internet today, the power of social media today. That's all that is, yeah.
Well, the other thing too is that compared to the history of the Disney company, having a fan community like this, especially one that's very vocal, is a relatively new thing. I mean, it wasn't until the mid-90s that you started seeing, like fan websites and things like that. It's like before that, if you were a Disney fan, it's like the most it amounted to was a collection of some books on your shelf. It's like, but once people became more connected with the internet in the mid-90s, that's when things started popping up. And then by the early 2000s, things started picking up and getting more serious. Now, after the 2010s, these past 9 years, things have really gotten ramped up. Now the Disney fan community has so much power; it can affect what happens in the Disney parks. I mean, just look at that article we read on the LA Times about the Imagineer Kim Irvine, how when she was tasked with adding Disney characters to It's a Small World, how she nearly lost her job over that because of the fan community lashing back. It's just like there's a lot of power and a lot of momentum that's still gaining with this fan community and how it's growing.
Yeah, which is why I'm and think about it. I mean, being a part of this channel, this is kind of the next stage in that development as a community, or the kind of, you have these independent artists and filmmakers and writers putting together documentaries, that are almost scholarship. I mean, it's not, you know what I mean, but like we're history through independent channels, independent sources, not just from the Disney company. So there's so much passion and knowledge within this community that has emerged because of the internet. I mean, there are, and Alex, I agree. It does start with those early fan sites in the 90s, mainly because it was a big transition period in the parks in Florida. Mainly, you had fan sites for Mr. Toad going away. There were memorials. There were kind of shrines to attractions that were about to leave. You have there's a Universe of Energy website somewhere in the I mean, for the original one, before Ellen's Energy Adventure replaced it. There's so many old. There's a World of Motion website. all from the 90s when these attractions were going away, but it's also the beginnings of the internet. And that's really how the origin story of what we're doing right here and what we do on this channel. And which is why and because Alex, what you said was so true, how large it's gotten and how large it's getting, which is why I think it's imperative that we all kind of pool our resources as a community and really create something that it holds itself to a high journalistic standard, so that we're not misleading ourselves, not misleading people, and actually like dedicating our time to the history of the organization and holding the company accountable to itself in by means of civil discourse, not attacking. Because I mean, the executives aren't going to listen to like complaining. They're going to listen possibly to well thought out argument and passion that's articulated in an eloquent and loving way, which is what I think we are starting to and have done on this channel, and I hope we continue to. And we have a lot in store that I think will further all of that.
You know, I just want to first of all, thank Tom and Disney themselves, I guess, for making this past week when this transpired, making it entertaining to, help us get through the week. I think that's what's really important here. Is I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah,
I don't either. Sorry.
Yeah. We've said before there are lots of other great Disney news websites out there that you guys can decide to get your news from. Mickey Blog is a really good one that we here on the show trust a lot. The Diz Insider. Blog Mickey, yeah. I got
right?
mixed up.
Yeah.
Is it Blog Mickey or it's Blog Mickey? It's Blog Mickey.
So.
Yeah, so I just said some nice stuff about them, but then got their name wrong. But the Diz Insider is another good one. Those are really the only two that I know of that are like high caliber, non-drama free websites, I guess is what I'm getting at. There's a lot of drama free websites out there who cover the same stuff that WDW News Today does. And if you guys like, you can link down in the description, link in the chat if you want websites that you go to when you want to read up on Disney news, or if you use the show to get your Disney news from, which is totally cool. That's what the show's for. That's really awesome. Maybe we should start our website. News website, publish articles.
I don't know if we have the sources to be able to do that, but certainly, we'll talk, Matt. We'll talk.
Okay. All right. So let's see. I don't even know where to go from here. I think we've covered pretty much everything that transpired from this event, have we? Unless we're missing something, you guys in the chat can...
I think I've said all the main things that I've wanted to that I hope come from this, or that I've had on my mind about it.
Okay.
Other than that, a couple weeks out, I'm kind of like over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we got, that happened, and I hope everybody realizes that everything's okay.
Yeah, and like we said, the article's published by WDW News Today. The rumors that they report, especially the Moana one, I feel like some of them hold some ground in reality. It's not just, let me make up a rumor to get clicks and stuff like that. Because I feel like that's where a lot of people are coming from when they talk about this kind of stuff. When they talk about the WDW News Today, they just think, he's just making up stuff for clicks, which may or may not be true. I can't really say for sure if some of the rumors that they've posted have just been that, But like I said, they do have a really good.
Yeah, some are famous. Some are famously like way off the mark. But in recent years, track record with all the radical changes that have been going on, track record's been pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of
famous
the
one. Yeah.
The things that we wanted you to take from this is to, they do have a really good track record, like Jeremy said. So it's just the way that they present these rumors, the aftermath, how they handled all the backlash, how Tom handled all the backlash. It's entertaining to watch. That's really all I have to say. Alex.
I guess it is in a very animalistic kind of like
like
way.
watching it from like behind a cage,
which is like the dangerous entertainment. You know, it's like going to the Coliseum to watch people kill each other.
Yeah.
You know.
Alex, do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to say on the topic?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much just covered it. I don't know. I just feel like I think that what we all need, this goes for like for fan websites who report Disney news, or even for the fans themselves who are reading it. I think that what we need is to understand that that everything is not official, everything is just rumor. We also need to be objective about things. So it's kind of like I think one of the biggest problems is that there's a lot of like bias towards certain things in the Disney news, which can rile people up, or it can make people really happy, get people excited for something. And I think a lot of us, we get very easily affected by whether those things are positive or negative. So, you know, you might read something on, let's say, like Mice Chat or something, and it says, oh, this ride is to be completely redone, but it says it in a negative way or something that makes, or positive way that makes us either like it a lot or really hate it. And I just think that it needs to be more objective, because there's some people that might feel the opposite about what other people feel. So I don't know. I just feel like if you're gonna be a journal website, whether you're WDW News Today, Mice Chat, or anybody else, being objective is really important.
I completely missed everything Alex said because I spilled Snapple on my shirt, but I agree, Alex.
Oh, Matt.
It's bound to happen at least once a week, but I'm glad I got it out of the way.
I finished my Snapple.
Yeah, I'm empty as well. Alex, do you have any Snapple left over in your Snapple can?
It is empty.
Wow, all right. I think this was a successful episode. Drinking Snapple together, talking drama together. I mean,
should be the norm.
Yeah. What more can the viewers ask for? Is really, you know, it's for the viewers. You guys, we do this for you. I embarrass myself for you guys, but anyways, let's see. I think that just about wraps up that topic. And I did have another one that I wanted to quickly go over, which I wanted to talk about first, but I completely skipped my mind. I did want to get Jeremy's thoughts on how dead Disneyland has been these past few weeks from the Galaxy's Edge opening. So maybe we can quickly go through that. And maybe in the future we'll dedicate an entire video to that as well. But Jeremy.
I don't know if an entire video will be worth talking. It's such a temporary bit of
We
news.
now present to
my thoughts on this kind of change every time I read someone else's thoughts about it. I don't think it's as complex or as some people think it is, but at the same time, I don't think it's as simple as some other people think it is either. So I don't know what that means. I think what it's not is Galaxy's Edge flopping. I don't also think it's because everyone's blocked out, because that hasn't stopped crowds over the summer or holidays before. Because, and I also don't think it's like not happening. Some people like will post pictures of like the wait time for Smuggler's Run and be like, Disneyland is crowded. See, it's a 140-minute wait. So all those pictures and people saying it's not crowded, it's a conspiracy. It's not actually happening. Yeah, I think it is happening, and the one I seem to keep settling back into is the land isn't complete yet, and that's not a bad thing. I think people literally are waiting for the fall season to come. I also think it's possibly also a lot of people thought the crowds were going to be really bad and chose not to book their vacations. I also think on a philosophical level, that's why you have me on the show. I also think, and this was Eisner's mistake way back, Disneyland was not designed to be a resort complex.
Yeah.
It is a park for locals. It's a park for California. It's a park for Southern California, families to come and spend their day and enjoy. And that's still the case, contrary to it becoming a vacation destination. It is still the Southern California's park. It is still the locals' park. And I think it's possibly a lot of the locals who grew up with Disneyland aren't necessarily interested in this expansion. Also, they want to possibly avoid the crowds of people booking vacations to come. So I think it's just a combination of all of these things. But what I'm certain it's not is the land is an artistic failure.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I just want to squash that conversation that keeps popping up. And I haven't experienced it yet, but we live in the internet age and we can see a lot. It's not the same as experiencing, and I have very high hopes for the land as it grows. Do I think it works in Disneyland? That we've had this conversation before. I don't, whatever. But it's there now, and as a standalone land, I think it will grow, and I think Rise of the Resistance will be a very exciting attraction that will attract a lot of crowds in the fall. So I basically just regurgitated every reason, but I hope with some kind of insight.
Yeah, and like we said, I guess Alex and I will keep you guys updated as well. The next month and a half, next few months of the opening of Galaxy's Edge, the aftermath. We're going to be covering that very extensively here on the show as well.
There's comments talking about price increase, and I didn't mention price increase. I think that's part of it too. I mean, every year my family, and we've been long time. I'm not an annual pass holder anymore, but yeah, I agree. It was a park designed for the middle class, and again, I've talked on this show about how I think that's representative of a larger thing going on in the country. It's not necessarily Disney, but just where the country is economically, I think, has a lot to do with people deciding to spend money to go to the park.
Yeah, that does play, I feel like, as well, a big part as well. But yeah, like I said, Alex and I are going to be covering the aftermath of Galaxy's Edge very extensively, through the opening of Rise of the Resistance, whenever that will be. We have no idea yet, but it is worth noting that the park was jam-packed on the 4th of July. Don't know if that changes
As
anything.
it always is.
I mean, yeah, it normally is packed on the 4th of July.
Because it's also, that is where a lot of locals go for 4th of July fireworks. So, yeah, they're still going to do that, especially if it's a family tradition.
Yeah.
But they probably decided, okay, well, we don't need to go as much in the summer if we want to do that, because we want to go to Disneyland. We don't just want to go to Galaxy's Edge, you know? as I've said, it's going to take a lot for this administration, I guess is the best way to put it, to like take away the spirit of what Disneyland actually is and its function in society. So Galaxy's Edge is not enough to do that.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
That doesn't mean the land is a failure. That doesn't mean the land is a flop on its own merit. But I just think the perception of what the company wants Disneyland to be is not the reality of what it is in everyone's hearts, especially locals of Southern California. And I grew up in Southern California, and I can attest to that. Alex, I'm sure you can attest to that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe we'll do like a review. A year, May 25th or whatever, May 23rd of 2020. We'll do like a look back at how Galaxy's Edge was then, the crowds then, to compare to 2020, May 23rd of 2020. That might be fun to do, like a flashback Friday episode of Matterhorn Mondays. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I think that wraps up.
Where we see who was wrong, and then we attack each other on Twitter.
You didn't ask me about what I thought.
But I asked you for 2 episodes already. The past few episodes we've talked about it so far.
Yeah, but
well, maybe he has a response to something I've said though. Maybe
okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know how we operate, Alex and I. We inspire each other.
No, I was waiting for this topic because I was going to tell you the park has been consistently busy for the past week.
Has it?
That's also what I've heard. Yeah.
Okay.
That's also what I've heard.
So I've been there and I've been monitoring the crowd levels as well, and everything has been like normal. It's been super busy, and last time I was there, it was they were setting up rope lines for Pirates of the Caribbean. So it seems like everything's back to normal. Yeah. And I think that people were just initially avoiding the reservation period, and they were initially avoiding the first week that Galaxy's Edge was opened to the public for just walking in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now everything is back to normal. So, and I think that, I think that it's a major success. It's not a perfect success like Cars Land in comparison was what we would call a perfect success. But it is a very big success. So, sorry, my roommate left her phone behind, so it's going off right now.
Answer it live on stream. See who it is.
Can't do that.
Don't do it.
Anyways, well, thank you, Alex, for bringing that up, because I was not aware that the parks were. It's still going. That the parks were busier all around this week. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that to my attention. We'll see how that pans out through the rest of the month, through the rest of the year, like we said, until Rise of the Resistance opens. We will keep you guys updated, because you know how we love to talk about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, also, I think some people are waiting for it to open in Florida. So there is, and that opens up a larger issue of like, if there's so many repeat experiences on both coasts, like are these places really going to be vacation destinations?
Mm-hmm.
So there's also that. Some people on the other side of the, might be waiting, or some people have already booked vacations to go to Florida, so they're not going to go. So there's so many different reasons why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like I said, we will keep you guys updated throughout however long we decide to keep you guys updated for. Stay tuned to the Matterhorn Mondays show. Let's see, and I think that is just about going to wrap up this week's episode of Matterhorn Mondays. First 3 cameras, groundbreaking. Groundbreaking for the show. You guys thought 2 cams was cool last week. Well, be prepared. Episode 100, we're going to have 100 people on the show, each with a camera. So,
can we get an FN chat for Matt's computer? His processor.
I'm seriously though, I'm gonna need to upgrade my computer very soon, But anyways, yeah, thank you all for coming out to this episode. Thank you all for listening to the very end. I think I'm gonna be coming out with stickers for the show. Maybe I can do some sort of, if you find Bob Chapek somewhere on screen, you get a sticker. If you're like the first to comment the timestamp, like a DSMI Newscast does, you guys will get a free sticker. If you guys,
by the way, so for you Matterhorn Matt fans, Alex the Historian was commissioned by Matterhorn Matt.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
To design him a tattoo.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we said it last week on the stream, but that was before you had sent the actual picture. So let me find... Here it is.
Matt, your body's just covered.
I know it's
tattoos.
gonna hate me when I get old. It's gonna be wrinkly. So I think what I decided on, this is gonna be far into the future. This will not be something that's gonna happen within the next week, maybe within the next 2 months maybe. I gotta mentally prepare myself for this because it's gonna be an undertaking. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the picture that Alex drew for me. I asked him to draw a map of Disneyland, and he was like, oh, I've been drawing maps of Disneyland since I was a kid, so I got this down. So let me try and get it in
Oh my
frame.
god.
So that is the picture that Alex drew for me. And I think the plan, at least at the moment, is that I'm going to get it on my chest. Yeah, Jeremy's face is like, okay, that's not going to happen. But so... I mean,
oh my god!
It'll be, like I said, quite the undertaking.
The map is wonderful.
Yeah,
Alex, the map looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does really look great. He.
I have the.
Oh, the original.
right
Oh
here.
yeah. Look at that.
That's great.
Matt, please no more tattoos. I'm sorry, Chris. I have to do it to you. Is it pre-Toontown?
I know, but Matt, aren't you like searching for love and
I mean,
going on dates?
I mean, who wouldn't want to go out with somebody who has a Disneyland map tattooed on their chest? I mean,
you might find the one.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll find someone else who has the exact same. Maybe Alex was commissioned to draw another tattoo that he's not telling me for another person. So
perhaps.
But yeah, anyways, that's the plan currently. You know, it probably won't be too big. Maybe just my whole chest area, I guess. That's pretty big. It'll probably hurt. Like I said, I'll have to mentally prepare myself for it. Won't be anytime soon. I'm assuming it'll be expensive. You know, probably $200, $300. So that'll be coming. I'll let you guys will know once it happens. I'll post a million videos and pictures on Twitter about it. So anyways, yeah, so that's that. Thank you, Alex, for reminding me to show everybody the image that you drew. And
my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to decide if I should get Alex's tattoo or Alex's signature tattooed as well on underneath it. I don't know. We'll come to an agreement, a licensing agreement for my chest. So. Yeah. But anyways, now that wraps up this week's episode of Matterhorn Mondays. And if you guys have not tuned into the show live, the link is in the description of every episode to my second channel, Matterhorn Matt Streams, which is where we do all the live streams of Matterhorn Mondays. Every Saturday at 5 p.m., 4 p.m. Disneyland time, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Go ahead and subscribe to that if you'd like. You can participate in chat. A lot of great people in chat today. I think we peaked at around, let's see, what was the max people we had? Probably 25 people at one point.
Wow, yeah. I remember when it was 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7.
Yeah, so we're getting up there, you guys. We're adding one viewer every episode. So by episode 1,000, we'll have 100 people watching. But yeah, big thanks to everybody who came out to watch this live. Big thanks to everybody who participated in chat. Link is in the description to my second channel. Link is also in the description to Alex's channel, as it's always been since the very first episode of Matterhorn Mondays. And also link will be in the description to Jeremy's Twitter account. which I think he put in chat at one point and misspelled a couple
I
times.
tried to.
So-
It was like tagging myself in the chat, so it became confusing. But the link will be in the description. If you want to follow me, you can. If not, I really will not think anything less or more of you.
Oh, and just so you guys know, if you've been seeing me look around constantly in this live stream, there's been a lot of aftershocks while we've been doing this.
Really?
And,
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been monitoring a live seismograph camera, and the biggest one was about 20 minutes ago, and that's when everything started really shaking. So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Well, I'll find it in
Oh,
the
it's
I'll find it in the
happening.
video, and I'll put a timestamp for when Alex looks around frantically holding down all his furniture. So.
Oh my god. On the next topic, you guys.
You see, guys, we all have a great time here.
Oh god.
But anyways, now that wraps up this episode. Thank you to everybody for listening to the end. Like I said, links to everything, articles we talked about will be in the description down below. And as always, have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.